Okay, today we're going to learn how to make ghee, one of my favorite things. I use it all the time. Clarified butter. Keep it by the stove, and you can keep it on the counter for 6 months, and you can keep it frozen in the freezer for up to a year. So I use my old tahini ice cream containers to make my stash, and I also create these 1 teaspoon shaped little hearts using a heart-shaped mold. I just pour the ghee in here, stick it in the freezer for a few minutes, and the cute little hearts come out. It makes it really attractive when you're serving other people, and nice when serving up stuff like on grits or rice or what have you. Anyway, so here we go. We need to have butter, pot, an empty container that is preferably heat resistant. If it is not, make sure you cool your ghee down first. You need a strainer. You're going to need a couple of pieces of cheesecloth, a bowl, and a ladle or deep spoon to scoop off or skim off the milk solids, which is what we are taking out of the butter to create the ghee. So here we go. The first you want to do is set your pot on appropriate burner and turn it up to about medium high. We are going to melt our butter. I have it extra high just to get it all started. It is a lot of butter. I buy mine in blocks. It makes the detangling part a lot faster. As I unwrap everything, it's easier 4 blocks than 4 strips of butter. It's alright that it's getting a little brown because it will do that. Electric burners and a little bit higher than gas burners. But the goal is to get them all in there and get them all melted down. Lovely. Once everything is melted down really good, you'll start seeing, even before it's melted down really good, you'll start to see the foam beginning to form inside the pot. I'll get a little closer so you can see. Those are the milk solids that we are eventually going to scoop out. But right now, we just want them to boil down, melt down, and get loose for us to get to. In the meantime, we will put our ladle in our plastic bowl. I need to go do some other things in the kitchen, so we'll set a timer for 15 minutes. And I will see you in 15 minutes. Okay, here we are 15 minutes later. And as you can see, there's a nice heavy foam on top. I do believe well, it's not all boiled down, but close. Still got a block here. I think it is the only block left. Yep, it's the only block left. Tiny, tiny one over there. But anyway, all of this foam on top is all what aids in difficult digestion. So this is the milk fat that we are scooping out, and you want to do it just a little bit at a time because you don't want to scoop out your ghee. The ghee is liquid gold. So as best you can, you can wait until it's all boiled down and brown, but I kind of like to do it ahead of time so I can see how far along in the process the ghee is when I can see more of the actual butter and not the milk solids. So this is what we're going to be doing temporarily, just to get all of this out, or at least as much of it as we can. It can be an exercise in patience, just because you don't want to dip too far into scooping up your butter, but you can see the beautiful golden underneath, and even that golden is saturated with more foam. So it's a time-consuming process, but that's why it costs as much as it does in the store. Not everybody wants to be doing this. So we're going to keep scooping this until it gets nearly clear at the top, so you can see a little more yellow. So I'm almost done skimming off the top. It's a little more difficult as you get closer to the butter. You wind up with some of it in the ladle. You just throw it back in the pot. I try to scoop it all in one area. It helps making the skimming process easier. But as you can see, the bright yellow, not nearly as pale as it was when it was cold, and a lot less dairy involved. The fact that it's not clear yet means there's still a lot of milk solids left, but just so that you can see exactly how much goes into all the butter. It was 4 pounds of butter. And of that 4 pounds, this is how much are milk solids. That's quite a bit. That here makes 3 cups. So we are almost at 24 ounces or 3 cups of 24 ounces or 3 cups of milk solids, which is quite a lot. This is what your stomach has to process. And for me, it doesn't do it very well. It's what causes a lot of mucus and bloating and gas and uncomfortableness. I clear my throat 1,000 times a day when I eat dairy products. And so this process, although time consuming, really does make my life easier. So I buy 4 pounds of butter at a time, and I process it all at once. And then I store the containers in the refrigerator so that I could use them as needed, and I don't have to keep going back to the store or doing this process. So now that we've gotten it mostly cleared out, don't have to be anal with it. We're going to turn it down. I'm going to turn it down so it doesn't boil. Probably around between medium and medium low, I guess. 3 or 4. The electric eyes cool down a lot slower, so it's going to boil for a bit until the eye cools down. But the goal is not necessarily to burn the butter immediately, but we are going to let it burn at the bottom just a little bit. Brown butter, this is the same process as browning butter, and brown butter actually creates a richer flavor than just regular butter. And what we're doing is making a ghee that's got a little bit of a burn on the bottom because it also creates that richness and flavor. Ghee already has a richness to it, but browning the milk solids at the bottom It gives the ghee a heightened flavor. You don't have to do all of that. You can turn it down super low if you need to not create that and get more of a bright sunshine yellow. But it will be clear either way. So we will be back in another we'll give it another 30 minutes. We're turning it down and letting it do its thing. We'll be back. Okay, we are back 30 minutes later. As you can see, the color has gotten darker. Not quite as bright as it was before. That means it's browning on the bottom. Far less foam created at the top. You can still skim that off. Not necessary because you're going to strain it with a cheesecloth anyway, but it just makes the straining process a little easier. You won't have to use as much cheesecloth. And as you can see, the color is deeper. Far less milk product. We have reached the 3-cup mark and beyond on this. So it's quite a bit of product we've taken out. It does reduce your butter volume, by the way, of course, but still, better. We're going to turn it up just a little bit more so it can start getting dark. And then we're going to strain it. We're going to give it maybe 15 more minutes. Again, this is a exercise in patience, but also in good health. We'll be back. We are back. And as you can see, in here, it's got a low simmer going. Sounds like it's sizzling underneath a little bit. But it's looking absolutely beautiful. You can see straight through it. So now is the time to turn it off. We are going to process it into our containers. I find it easy if I can prop my stuff up like so. Take a piece of your cheesecloth. You want to place it over your strainer like so. I'm using the ladle, but you can obviously use a measuring cup. And you're just going to pour it inside, trying to keep it within the cheesecloth. The point of this is to catch any of the milk solids happen to come through, and that doesn't get ladled out. And this is what it looks like. I think I'm gonna shift it to a glass jar. I normally cool it off when I put it in a plastic jar. And our plastic jars tend to buckle. You can see it's starting to buckle at the bottom and create a little dip from the heat. So we'll wait and let that cool off. But a mason jar can take the heat, so we will continue what we are doing with the mason jar. You can see how clear the liquid is. Liquid gold, people. We'll continue to do this until the jar is filled to the top. Okay, as you can see, we have gotten to the top. It is hot. But you can see that it's clear. There's no milk solids involved. Some bubbles at the top, but no milk solids. This is liquid gold, people. If you want it to seal up, you can cover it while it's hot. And as it cools, this part will buckle down and seal it really well for you. And then I set it off to the side to cool. I'm going to pull my ghee off of the flame, even though it's turned off, just so that it won't cook anymore. And in the meantime, I'm going to let it cool so we can put it in these containers. Makes it easier to freeze. And you can see at the bottom how it's charred a little bit. We didn't get it real dark this time. But it looks beautiful. So that will cool off and become this, and you will then eventually be able to put it in the refrigerator and create this nice and solid. Lastly, I take this after it's cooled off and I will put it in here and create this lovely little heart creations. Easy for measuring recipes and what have you. But that's Ghee, clarified butter.